Tēnā koutou. Many of you have heard about the Declaration of Independence of America. But have you heard of the Declaration of Independence 1835 in Niu Tireni, Aotearoa, New Zealand? In 1834, the leading chiefs of the far north gathered to discuss a founding flag and document. Here's the story of the Declaration of Independence. Me ngā te riti o Waitangi. Kia ora.
Ko mātou, ko mātu, ko ngā tino Rangatiratanga iwi o Niu Tireni. We announce in the cloak of cleanliness that we are the absolute sovereigns of this land, of Niu Tireni. Ko tine te hui hui, I Waitangi, I tokerau I te rārua te kaumawaru, o ka tapako tahi mano waru rau, tōru te kaumārino. We have met, had our meetings, and have on this day in Waitangi announced in the year 1835, the 28th of October.
And so when Maori signed the treaty, my understanding is that the Rangatira believed it to be an affirmation of he Wakaputanga and the relationship of the last 20 or 40 years with Britain, and basically like favoured, and there are some conventions in there. But the key part to the Te Tiriti Waitangi is in the preamble, not the articles.
Yes.
And in the preamble, in the Maori text in particular, because that was the only language being used at the time, te rongo me te atanoho are the two key phrases. And Queen Victoria is saying to the world, from her point of view, Maori are seeking peace and life as Maori would want it, and these will be guaranteed by Britain.
Ko mātu, ko ngā tino Rangatiratanga iwi o Niu Tireni. I raro mai o hauraki, ko tinei te hui hui. I Waitangi I tokerau I te rārua te kaumawaru o ke topa ko tahi mano. Warurau, toru te kaumārena. Ka wakaputa I te Rangatiratanga o tō mātou ake e wenua. Ka mea tia. Ka wakaputaya e mātai he wenua rangatira. Kia huaina ko te wakaminenga o ngā hapu o Niu Tireni.
Today, the 28th day of October, is no doubt the most important and auspicious date of the Maori calendar. We are here gathered together at Waitangi Te Ti to not only commemorate and remember the signing of the sacred covenant document of the Declaration of Independence of 1835, but also to resurrect, to reinstate, and to reaffirm it to its former powerful, authoritative glory.
I mean, we must go back to this day, 180 odd years ago. And what did our tupuna put down and what did they agree to what was written. And the words there to me are absolute. Ko mātou ngā tino rangatira. And the emphasis is on the word tino, absolute, of the whenua. All right. At that time they say, well, would they have understood that? They must have, because the words were absolute and short, and that's how our tupuna were. So today, I think we should honour that, and then we should turn around and ask this government, or any government now, from now on 180 years, they have been dishonourable. It's time they were honourable and came, because the articles of that document are very, very good. Come to, so we can discuss our customs, our laws, their laws. We can bridge the gap, come together, for one purpose, so that we can live together in harmony.
So what it's about with the treaty is about the truth, and the he Wakaputanga is the truth. So it's about finding where the truth is in each document. So where the government has always pushed kāwanatanga, Tino Rangatiratanga, that was a sidetrack issue. Because the truth of sovereignty is not in either word. Because when you look into the Declaration of Independence in the second article, it says ko te kingitanga, ko te mana I te whenua. And the translation, all sovereign power and authority, which King William sanctioned through his authority, through the covenant of God, through the paipera tapu. So if you try and change it, or even Māori try and move it to where they want, they're breaching their own tapu laws, because that's the authority that's given, comes through the word. So the kingitanga held that that kupu, declared when they united their signatures in the declaration, what they were doing was joining the lands under the kingdom. Then it took to 1858 to where the northern chiefs who went to Pukawa and the Kahanunu, Fatui Apti, and where they put their mana to it to raise a king. Then the world could recognise here that Māoridom were under their own. However, at the moment, the kingitanga has not, for some reason, refused to accept the truth, or not here to awhi the kaupapa. And that is they talk mana motu haki, walking it is a different kaupapa, not just kōrero. And a lot of them hold kōrero, but they're not actioning it. The kotahitanga that's sworn in the declaration to come north is to come here and be with Ngāpū, to be whanaungatanga, to get the mana motu hake back, not done in boardrooms or things like that. Yep. So the kupu, it's held in the kupu, manifested through the king in Pukawa. Then the ahurewa tapu was raised, and then that's why Governor Gray, they were right, it was a direct challenge to the Queen of England. It is written in the Bible, you cannot serve two kings. See? Hence why the crown always gets got Te Atarangi Kahu to be a dame. And then, so we hear has got Tuheitia to be a knight. That's ceding the authority and the tapu of the king. You know, which is all about the he Wakaputanga, the authority that comes through spiritual authority for our people in that direction.
Power! We got the power! What kind of power? People power! Who's got the power? We got the power! What kind of power? People power! Let's hear it, everybody! TPPA! No way! 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 Louder! TPPA! No way! TPPA! No way! TPPA! Taking people's power away! TPPA! Taking people's power away!
I know we've got a lot of doctorates, I know we've got a lot of people pursuing reo courses, but we need to also have, a lot of decolonisation. I had a really good think this morning because I was asked by a media person, who were the 15 women that signed the treaty? 20 years ago, I could recite them. This morning, I had to think who they were. It's because that knowledge needs to be supported and we need to be bringing it back. And if we're going to do that, then we need to be having decolonisation wānanga on our marae in the same way we're doing it, and it can be in the reo now to support it. And that decolonisation wānanga must have it as part of it, an understanding of the threats on Rangatiratanga, and of course free trade agreements that give extra legal privileges to corporates and deny privileges to people should be part of that.
The only point I wanted to make today was about our sovereignty and what sovereignty means. There's only one language and one sovereign language, and the native of the lands holds that language. Our language is the sovereign language of the land is Eo E Au. Now that isn't just our language now, that is the language universal because it belongs to all native of the lands.
Preemption meant that the right of ownership of any land or sales was first refusal was the Crown.
Yes.
And she never.
But not in the early stages. From 1840 to 1845, 46, the preemption clause worked properly.
It worked properly.
Properly, yeah.
Well,
which went grey but with the significance of the gap is by 1852 there were more Pākehās than Maori.
Right.
Prior to that, the majority was still Maori.
But it doesn't. The Waitangi. I guess
so the numbers changed everything, and then after that, they said, "Oh, stuff we don't need to talk to Maori. We'll just go ahead and do it." And that's the settlement story from 1852.
Now, the cases that has been upheld that customary land has never been extinguished.
Yes, that's right.
The government is a servant of the people, and because they have forgotten that, we get in all the troubles we can. All the atrocities of man have been brought about because elected or appointed public servants now want to be rulers, and so that's what caused all the troubles. And so we have put all of our public servants under oath, and so when they breach their oath, we're getting all the rubbish we're getting. So it doesn't matter if we have a Wakaputanga. If the people in the Wakaputanga do not honour their oath, are not serving the people, the Wakaputanga will fail. And it has been failing because we haven't really, and my personal belief is this, the supreme sovereignty lies with God. That's the supreme sovereignty. We are His children. Now, if anyone believes that there is no God, or they believe that we are not His children, that's okay. But they can never congregate with us, because it's like oil and water. They'll never gel and never work together. And so those are the two most important principles to get any government going. And so now the Wakaputanga came about because in the first place we had Kohuioro. Kohuioro had established a parliament from 1808, and one of the parliaments was established down in Mahia. But after a while, being normal human beings like any other politician, I suppose, they started accepting backhands and doing their own people a harm. They want to get rich for themselves. And so the 34 chiefs up in Ngāpuhi says this is no good. So they started what we call the whakamininga. Now Ngāpuhi at that time had their own agenda too. They had hoped to team with the British, and the British and them get together and they go sweeping south and they conquer all the other tribes, and they become the sovereign tribes of all of them. But they realised that this is no good for their grandchildren, so they stopped that. And so in the Wakaputanga it says, we invite the southern tribes to put aside their private animosities and consult together on the safety and security of our now common country. Well, Ngāpuhi had to do that first, and they did. And that's when it became spread down to confederation.
Atatu Nina, Kalatatu te iwi o te Māori. We are not people of Māori. Atatu Nina, he iwi no te Maori ori. We are people of the mixed nations. When we are talking We are talking about iwi. It does not apply to one person or one race of people. Iwi means people. That's exactly what it means, people.
Can we come through here? Yeah, yeah.
People of New Zealand were ready for a bigger change than just legalising cannabis. We are ready for a new style of governance.
Yes.
It doesn't have the corruption, doesn't have the greed, and is about the people. The people power. It's the people who direct the governance. You know, the people tell the government what to do and they listen, and that's how we need to get back to. Our kaumātuas should be guiding us on this, and not just going along with the protocol, but actually moving for change. You know, we need to make some sacrifices, but I think that the people are ready for the change, and it's just it was a wonderful energy. And I feel it's the time has come for New Zealand to lead, to show the world as a group how people don't rely on one leader, but as they come together and can share a common cause. And we don't have to be looking to one person. We can share a common cause and move together.
Yes.
And that's the future for New Zealand, isn't it? Where we all have a say.
Kia ora, John Wanoa.
Kia ora.
Kia ora. Just going to give you a whakaaro on the Treaty of Waitangi and He Wakaputanga here at Waitangi Titi Marae. Kia ora. Today is the Treaty of Waitangi, 6th of February 2016. The flags that I'm holding is the 1835 Declaration of Independence flag, which is really the founding document of this country. And then it went into the 1840 treaty. Two separate treaties, two separate contracts of one flag and the other. The Confederation flag, this one, is a commercial trading bank flag that has many important features inside it that the Maori themselves have not exercised. After 181 years, on the 28th of October this year, they are just about to use it and go into business with a flag that's being used by a mystery person. And we want to identify who's driving the ship with his flag on it or in the hull, travelling the world. It was given by a king. It is a king's flag. The Wakaputanga is a king's flag given to a native who didn't understand it very much. And it was a little bit too hard because it was a bank flag of King William IV. He drafted the Acts in Westminster between 1830 and 1837 that allowed the native to use those Acts. They can still use them now because it's fixed in the extant law in Westminster. And so, the 1840 obelisk you see in my background here is a contract between John Key's government and the native iwi Maori. This one is a hapu native and a king of England, a king of Hanover, a king of Britain, UK, and a king of Aotearoa, Niu Tireni and Pacific Islands. You'll notice I'm wearing a hat with 8 points on it. This is the New World Order on our flag, in 4 corners of the earth, clearly established in 1835. It has a black strip of the military to protect its business between here and England. So we haven't used it yet because they couldn't understand the bank's biggest secret. I'm just telling you, they didn't quite understand how to use it. So I'm telling the taumata, who's the elders on the marae, the highest authority of a native in this country is the taumata on this marae, because it's got John-Keys obelisk that's made from Firth concrete. Our memorial is a Moai statue on East Island. He's native Tahitian. And so, between this memorial and King William, his photo here, we have two of the most powerful memorials in the world.
The settlers who changed the understanding.
Because I understand that the Maori chiefs at the time, they signed the indigenous version, which the international community tends to side with, and in their belief they hadn't ceded autonomy. They had merely reiterated what the declaration had said.
Yes,
Would you say that?
Yes, and so the declaration is a one language document.
Yes.
The treaty, especially the Maori text, is consistent with He Wakaputanga.
Yes.
It's the English language treaties that are problematic. But Maori did not sign the English language texts.
No.
So 500 odd signed the Maori text to Treaty o Waitangi, and another 40 signed an English text, and that's at Port Waikato, and they signed it in English simply because Captain Bunbury had forgotten to somehow or rather to take the Maori text to Port Waikato for the signings.
Yes.
And so he used an English language text. Yes. The subtlety of this mistake is important, because what I do know is that all the discussion in Port Waikato at the time was in Maori, and there is no evidence that they were speaking about the Te Tiriti Waitangi in English. And so while they signed in good faith an English version of the treaty, all the kōrero, all the talk was about the Maori text. And so you got to people mistakenly think that because they signed the English text they were signing the English version. They weren't. And it was just a formality putting their moko marks on it. And this has led to a lot of confusion.
Yes.
And some of it accidental confusion, a lot of it's, in my mind, a deliberately misinterpretation of the history to justify settler colonialism later.
Yes, yes.
And so the international convention today, followed by the Waitangi Tribunal and the New Zealand courts, are that where you have a treaty in two languages, as is the Treaty of Waitangi, they sit side by side.
Yes.
That on moments of dispute and where there's a lack of clarity, then precedence is given to the local language. In this case, it's the indigenous Maori language.
Yes.
And the balance, the way the courts then look at it, is from the point of view of the Maori text first, and then come back into the English. And then, so that's the current, as I understand it, that's the current situation on how they, the courts and the Waitangi Tribunal, and look at the both texts. But the primary text is the Treaty Waitangi, Te Tiriti o Waitangi.
Okay.
Toi a mai te waka nei, kume a mai te waka nei, ki te tako tō rangai takoto ai Tiriti te mana mo tuhake Te tangi a te manu e Pipi wharauroa Kui, kui, kui Whiti, whiti ora Hui e taki e Toi a mai te waka nei Kume a mai te waka nei Ki te takoto rangata koto ai Tiriti te mana mo tuhake Te tangi a te manu e Pipi wharauroa Kui, kui, kui Whiti, whiti ora Hui e taiki e
The chiefs never permitted any legislative authority separate from themselves in their collective capacity to exist, nor any function of government to be exercised without their said territories unless by persons appointed by them and acting under the authority of laws regularly enacted by them in Congress assembled.
Okay, so what we're doing here is we're looking at some of the statutes that were brought in and around the signing of the Declaration of Independence, is that right? 1835? Before? Long before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'll let you carry on with your kōrero.
Okay. Yep. So we'll just move this statute over anyway, but these pages here come from a correspondence, and it's a this is an official document. The answers which would be made by foreign nations to such a claim are two. First, that the British statute book has, in the present century, in 3 distinct enactments, declared that New Zealand is not a part of the British Dominions.
So it's not a part of
No, no.
Okay.
And this is done in 1839, 7 November.
So okay, so they're basically acknowledging King William IV's.
Well, that reads on.
Yes.
And secondly, that King William IV made the most public, solemn and authentic declaration which it was possible to make that New Zealand was a substantive and independent state. The recognition by the King, Lords and Commons of Great Britain of the fact that New Zealand is not a part of the British Dominions will be found in the statutes 57 George 3, chapter 53, 4 George IV, chapter 96, section 3, 9 George IV, chapter 83, section 4.
Toro mai toringa kia hariru tia toringa yafi pono yafi taku tingana Aue te aroha ki ara toma Aue te aroha ngā whakaroto nei Iki tia e ngā iwi ki a rewa ki runga ngā taonga ngā matua kua ngaro ki te pō Tēnā koutou, e hoa mā, kua tai mai nei, i tēnei wā, no reira rā, e hoa mā, kia ora rā, koutou katoa, kua rongo hoki ahau, Kua rongo hoki ahau, kua rongo hoki ahau, kei te haere mai koutou, no re E hoa ma, kia ora ra, koutou katoa.
Understanding that they still retain the retention of their sovereignty is still intact, and that's what was very important. And this area was actually the place where they discussed that issue before they actually signed it. Yeah. So for me, it's actually the spirit of our old people. We commemorate their signatories, which is their moko, and they commemorate the fact that they live on in our hearts and our minds forever and a day.
Of course. Now, do you think that the Declaration of Independence 1835 has been honoured? Do you think they're honouring it by accepting that the Indigenous people retain their lands, their sovereignty over their lands and over their governing of themselves? Do you think that the British Crown is actually doing that since the signing?
No, I don't think they have. I think they have forgotten about us. You know, Prince William came not very long ago. Prince Charles came not very long ago. They didn't even make any effort to come here, and they covered the country. They walked the country. They were invited to other organisations, other areas, but they didn't come here. And yet, this place was significant to them, rather to anybody else. It was the place where we believe that a true agreement was made between us and their descendants, which was King William. And so we were disappointed about that. So I believe that signifies to me that they've forgotten about it. It doesn't mean anything to them anymore.
Wakaputanga mihi, Wakaputanga korero, Wakakoto te kapapa makoto e kohi kia orara, haere hoki tatau e hoa ina kia uki uta, kanui tēnei kua tutuki ka tinoa hei koneira pupuritia, 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 pupuritia. Pumahi, ko matou, pero pumahi, ka papaki no, ka te tiro no, ka tutuki no, ka kikini no, kei te aroha, ki ngā taonga, iwi Maori
you have to come back to Te Hiru Haramaho because this is where the pulse is. It doesn't matter what we do, where we run to, you have to come because the heart of Ihoa, the Temepara Tapu, stands there. Our brothers and sisters in the old Jerusalem are waiting to build a third temple. Let me tell you, kamutu, it will never happen. The third temple has already been erected and it is here in the Pa o Ngariki. And it's for the whole world.
Yes.
It's for the whole world. If your faith is as invisible as a mustard seed, you can go in there with any sickness and you can be healed. Yes. You can be healed, but it's up to your part of your faith what you have. And this is why I'm saying, and this is the reason why we came here for one day 35 years ago and never left. Never left. because
you went ahead.
And it's important that that the information and the true text of the information, we go back to the actual written text, the original kupus of the Maori, the World Tour diaries, the journals, the Whitu Marama to Kotahitanga, 1924 to 1939, the Rongo Pai Ho, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, these books that have been hidden, the B Company, the Hymns of the Moru, all these are like the Red Sea Scrolls, hidden scrolls. These are like the books the 66 chapters that make up the Bible, like the book of Mary Magdalene, the book of Adam and Eve, book 1 and book 2. All these books that never got put into the Paipeta Tapu. Well, these books that we have, if you bring the best 20 scholars in the world here for 1 year and they read these kupus, they will be convinced and put everything to the side what they've learned and follow the kupus, and they can actually piece it together. Because at the end of the day, you are Maori, and that is your birthright.
So we didn't have a mile man at the one, the 200 times in the coat. No later go tiny at the war, on a part I had to eat anyone. No later to go to Kakoyata. Alatana, he was taken out of the Maori Nui Akiwa and pushed that into this area about 800 years ago. Well, that is the beginning of the first settlement on this country. Was at that time. So that was the one that was chosen. He was chosen to lead the world, to unite the world under one code. So in 1924-25 he did that tour, is to unite them. But he went with a knowledge, and the knowledge he had was about his Treaty of Waitangi. Well, the Treaty of Waitangi has been in debating for many years, were never recognized. But I think just here we got his petition, Rodney's petition. It was only that petition that gave the treaty the right to be acknowledged, but never was ever acknowledged in Parliament. And this is the partnership we denied of, the partnership of Labour and National. For many years that we worked together, at the end of the day, they did not help the culture for any survival that we needed to be in partnership with who's in this country, whenever they came up, who were there at that time. So it's the beginning of a milestone that he was created, but he was chosen not by man. There's two things that was in his way. What we call the Rangatiratanga is the voice. The Rangatiratanga is on the migration. When they came through from the Moana Nui Akiwa to Rangitahu, then they repaired Kuhaupo. When they repaired them, they let them come through. In this tour, ka kitea tene whenua i rutu te kura te ata, school of the morning. That was the direction they had. So as Kuhaupo left Rangitahua, ka i tua i rutu te taputai moana, ka pute te reo Waitangi ana, te reo Ngariki. O te noho mai nei rutu i Pare Hauraki. Rega longa mai te reo Waitangi ana i te moana, ka pute e ke waho. But as in the evening, the rain was setting in, the wind was setting in, but he disappeared into the night. There was no fear. So anyhow, when he got to Kuhaupo, he united with them and let them back in. But when he came in, as soon as he hit the shores, the first thing he saw was Murifino, the land side of Murifino. But when he reached into what they call our Taimoana, and then he came in again, and they met into the Waimauri. They come into the Maori streams. So you have a look at those two terms. It gave him the right of the water right, Taimoana, and the water right of fresh, what they call Waimauri, fresh water. So that's all that's been locked in those laws. And the laws I'm talking about is the spiritual law. And the spiritual law, and the other part to that of Aratna was, he became a chosen prophecy through that Rangatiratanga. It's a voice. When he became a prophecy, he did not expose that till many years after.
Maori are at the bottom of the economical rate, they're in prisons, the abuse factor, you can't hide the truth. So yeah, brother, this is why I'm saying the key lies in the maramatanga that came directly from the throne of Iwa. And even on that 1920 Christmas Day, Te Māngai, oh this is beautiful, have the cheek to bring down Pikiti order, came straight from the throne of Iwa to the people. In the old days, in the old church house, the Pikiti order, the Māngai used to talk about all the babies that were flying around in Pikiti order, and if the parents wanted babies, all they had to do was call out to the babies and do what human beings do and believe in it. The babies were looking for parents, they're floating around in the air. Beautiful kōrero, and in Pikiti order was a divine drawing on the roof, and it was the migration where we came from Hawaii. A true link back to the old world. It was a whole hieroglyphic on the Pikiti order inside it. So all this stuff has been lost. A lot of this knowledge has been lost because a lot of our Maori people have gone back to the old ways. Because he said it, one day you the Maori people will go back to the old ways like your old people because you are Israel.
Mena e kātunu ana tō tatapauka. Mā koe tuku atunga kōrero o Wakaputanga pāna ki tēnei haki ne. I was taught very strongly that this flag was chosen by our ancestors as one of the three that were sent to them for consideration. They chose this one because they were able to see themselves taking ownership of this section of the flag, where they saw the 8-point stars as the ability to say the 7 major waka of this whenua are protected by the guarantees of this flag. This 8th point belongs to any non-Māori that's living here with us for the purpose of trade or residency, are also accorded the protection and guarantees of the flag of England. The fact that it's there 4 times repetitively, our tupuna saw it as an ability to say, yes, the 4 corners of this earth, ngā haue whā, are protected no matter where we live by the guarantees and protections of this flag. The black represents, as they saw it back then, the darkness that they used to live in terms of the protocols and practices of trade. And they saw themselves in the dark in regards to that. So they could accept the black line. The red lines, or the cross, whatever you want to term it, is how they saw that every bloodline in this land was accorded the guarantees and protections offered by King William IV in this flag. Nō reira, that's the gift I give today.
Oh, we're just trying to help our Polynesian people come together and be one with Maori people, because we're all the same. Yes. And the government are currently trying to crush Maori, and they're currently sitting in Rangatiratanga. John Key, I say to you this is, you are not a sovereign in my country, and do not make out to be, because in our country we are all sovereign, and what you were doing with the TPPA making a treaty with them is not right, because you do not have the power of the Māoris to do it. As long as you keep doing this, well, the TPPA and your flag reform is actually a declaration of war on our people. And people of the Pacific and of the world should know you as a criminal. You have a warrant for your arrest, gazetted in Tonga. Then you can carried on by getting rid of the Tongan newspaper, so it wouldn't be found, and the New Zealand police will not arrest you because they are also illegal, have no constitution in our country. And the Māori people, all we wanted was peace, and we live in harmony. But you choose to come over and steal all the time. You don't help the people, you undermine them, and if they don't sound like it's right, you deem us to be mentally incompetent, which is wrong. While I was incarcerated by an ignorant judge, they brought in some mental health people to see me. They asked me, do I know anyone with mental health problems? I told them, yes, I do. And they asked me who, and I said, oh, Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, and Jesus Christ, because we're all trying to help our people.
4.2. Then the raising of the Confederation flag and the Mana Māori Motuhake, which means full, exclusive, absolute, final possession, autonomy. For Māori shall prevail forever, for Māori extant. Number 5, for 173 years, the Pākea's illegal kawanatanga has flown their flag and have ignored our Confederation flag as though it has been a non-event. To make it worse, just recently in the media, John Key has been agitating for the silver fern flag for their government without consulting with the Confederation and or the Māori government of Aotearoa. Therefore, we consider that their attitude to Māori is despicable and rude. 5.1, important action aspect of handing back their flag and flying our Confederation flag mean much to us, the Māori, because the authority to govern in our country for them is automatically extinguished. And our Māori government of Aotearoa, New Zealand shall function peacefully under the independence awarded to Māori under the Declaration of Independence of 1835. A plaque which has been produced 2 years ago shall be installed in front of the Treaty of Waitangi Memorial to actually reaffirm the occasion. In conclusion, the Māori government delegation shall proceed to the United Nations Forum at Geneva, to the International Court at the Del Hague, and to the IMF, New York, Washington, D.C., to complete our necessary arrangements for our autonomy. 7.1, our business with the United Nations is to report on breaches, oppression, and so forth, like murders, torture, staking heads of our ancestors, innocent ancestors, and our human rights. To request safety, protection, and peace. 7.4, to fund our governance, our governance, rule, and reign. 7.5, to speak on our relegation by a foreign government entity of being relegated to fifth citizenship status in our own country. 7.6, contraventions of the imposition of 4,000 illegal legislated laws which have been unfair, prejudicial actions on our freedoms and independence to develop successfully without interference from an oppressive source of invalid, illegal, unconstitutional foreign government who seem to believe that white is right. No reira kia ora.
Kamate, kamate! Kaora, kaora! Kamate, kamate! Kaora, kaora! Tēnei te tangata puhuru huru nana.
Tihe Maori ora, tihe Maori ora, ngā iwi o te motu e. Tuake karangatia, tuake manakitia, ngā iwi kia orara. Tihe Maori ora, tihe Maori ora, ngā iwi o te motu e. Tuake karangatia, tuake manakitia, ngā iwi kia orara. Ngā iwi kia orara.
1892, as it's kind of referred to as, well, somehow Maori got sick and they died of influenza, cholera and all sorts of other diseases. But in the recent histories that we've been doing for the Waitangi Tribunal, it's quite clear that there's a deliberate policy of creating poverty and driving Maori into conditions of poverty. This was called, some economists, forced poverty. Forced poverty is the opposite to chosen poverty, where people choose to be poor in order to be a free people. And there's no evidence that we chose to be poor. And so as a consequence, from an economist point of view, not being able to earn wages and income or get a return on your land as assets meant that people became suddenly poor, and that poverty then led to malnutrition. And it's the forced poverty, the consequential malnutrition and poor health that led to the death rates.
Yes.
And so I see the death rates, the massive decline in population from the 1852 to 1892 as a consequence of forced poverty, and thus a decline. That was all rationalised in some sections of the Pākehā settler community by using some Darwinian thinking. Well, you know, strong, weak cultures will die off in the face of strong cultures. And so they just did, and there was a lovely little policy which developed in 1852, but was articulated by premiers in 1892 as our duty, our obligation, was to smooth the pillow of a dying race. So they justified the massive death rates of Maori. Well, this is the law of nature. In fact, it had nothing to do with the law of nature. It had to do with, this is a consequence of forcing people to live in poverty, becoming malnourished and incapable of withstanding diseases that came through.
We must, as Moana said, have constitutional change as the end goal. But you're not going to get that constitutional change without one of two things: a strategic plan to achieve that, and a revolution of the hearts and minds. And the only revolution happening at the moment is a capitalist one, which is taking money from the people and giving it to the banks while the rest of us sit in poverty. It's taking state houses away from people who have places to live and making our people live in poverty. It's criminalising people who are poor because they can't afford to feed their kids and placing them in jails. And we as Māori have to say, that's not tika, that's not pono, and we need to work together to vote out the National Party and to work strategically to achieve that.
Do you think New Zealanders are aware that we actually have a founding document that supersedes the Treaty of Waitangi?
Gee, you know, a few years back it felt like no one was aware, but I can't say that today. No, I think the general people out there in Aotearoa are waking up through the straw man. They realise that this doesn't just affect Māori, it affects them too. So yeah, we put all that information out that you just spoke about with the factuals to counter to show you how that has come about. Very much so. We don't want to put anything that can be misconstrued and break down he Wakaputanga as a whole. So yeah, we go from everything that what the government holds, we've got it too. They know and we know. So yeah, no, very transparent. Yeah, no, very, very much so. The people are waking up.
Māori are the only ones that don't have any debt. Now the Wakaputanga pulled the world out of debt when it was in perfect order. Okay, so now that what's actually happening is that the Wakaputanga has the ability to reaffirm its position, re-establish its position as a Māori parliamentary system, a kawanatanga for our Māori people. It's there, it's just sitting there waiting for the right time, the right people in there that know what they want to do, and just reinstate it.
Well, first of all, we've had Tino Rangatiratanga since time immemorial, and that has never changed. And it was reaffirmed in 1835, or well actually 1834, when our tupuna put their signatories to reaffirm the Declaration of Independence. And we have the only Declaration of Independence that was given a 21-gun salute and was recognised globally. So our chiefs maintained their Tino Rangatiratanga as they do today. And it's simple. Everything that has been sold or taken was stolen from our people, and our tangata whenua, we still uphold mana atua, mana tangata, mana whenua. So, you know, and our fight for freedom is no different from any other indigenous tribe of the world or clan. They're certainly not natives. They were actually the best entrepreneurs of every country because they traded before colonialism came. They had their own banks before colonialism came. And the system is actually the for-profit corporation, which is not out to honour anything right down to Te Tiriti or Waitangi, which was also tainted to the He Wakaputanga 1835. We won't have chiefs if it wasn't for tangata whenua. It's the people that uphold the mana of our chiefs from each hapu.
Baby, go walk. that road. My baby gonna walk on down that road. She doesn't walk my
My name is Paulina Tumavave Wilianamau. This flag here that we carry, we believe today when a European crossed over from their part of the world to our ancestors' part of the world, they had to sit down and work out what was gifted to each of these bloodlines on the four corners of the world. Hence they sat down and designed the flag. The white color, they were talking about the truth. The red color, they were talking about the bloodlines. They divide the world into four corners. Our European mum and dad, there were four sets of twins that were created to bestow these four corners. Our European mum and dad, they were created to bestow the West. Our African mum and dad, they were created to bestow the East. Our Asian mum and dad created bestow the North, and our mum and dad, Maori DNA, brown bloodline, bestow the South. Our African mum and dad bestowed the East, they were bestowed the force of knowledge. Our Asian mum and dad gifted the North, they were given the force of wisdom. Our Pākehā, our European ancestors, they were given the force of change. Now hold that one, they were given the force of change. Then our ancestor Maori Polynesian, the brown bloodline, they were created, bestowed the South, they were bestowed the force of life.
You can't take away the land, 'cause the land always remains. You can't lock away your man and take away the land. You can't take away the rivers or all the waters of the sea. Can't take away every grave and sand. Can't take away my memories. But you can take away what has been legislated, so can get back to the land. The land will provide most everything we need. There's one thing you must understand. Tu te ao, tu te po, rangi tangata, wangaro, rangi maunga. Tu te ao, tu te po, rangi tangata, wangaro. You can't take away the land. Oh, oh, oh.
I support the korero about finding solutions. Ngāpuhi own water, Lake Wamapere. That was done by our tūpuna, and it wasn't done by academics. Research that, see how they did it. I'm just suggesting. On Tuesday, 50 of us sat in the marae here and made it so John Key couldn't come on this marae. Research that and see how it was done. It wasn't done by academics. It was done by 50 people, not 30,000 people. I just want to say this, and I'm not trying to be negative. Ngāpuhi instigated a judiciary that came to the conclusion that we didn't cede sovereignty. Sorry, Southern tribes, you didn't do that, we did. We did. Just suggesting, look at how it was done. It wasn't done by an academic. It wasn't done by an academic. I just want to make those points. I have issues with listening to academics. I really do, because I don't understand them. That's my issue.
One of the things that I was given a title of as being a freedom fighter. But the point about freedom is you got to know what freedom, the only way you got to know what freedom is when you understand the shackles that hold you. And that's the only time. The other one I want to mention also is what Mike King said. And I'll rephrase his call of it this way. Within the Bible, most of the time in the past few years we've been talking about Genesis. And I think it is right, it's time we start talking about Revelation. Okay, if you can understand that as a metaphor, it's time we look for solutions and start creating solutions. And many of us have gone down that road. But one of the things I want to make clear before I take it any further, a few years ago I was talking with Hone about being a part-time warrior. We can't be part-time warriors in this world. We've got to be full-time. But one of the points I want to say to you, how many of you are going to forget what you've heard today when you walk out that door tonight? If you do, then you are a part-time warrior, and I've got no time for you. And I mean that generally. So if you're going to do the fight, you've got to do it 24/7 and every day of the year. And that's what I call a full-time warrior. Pena ponona koto ki te Rangatiratanga, koe e tera te ao mau. E harai te ao, haere mai noho, whakalongo, puta te kuwaho ko wareware, e ha ngā kupu I korowatia. Okay. The other thing that I want to pose with you is to talk about the treaty, because we're here because of the Treaty of Waitangi. I asked a question and you have to answer this. I don't want an answer from you now. I want you to go home and think about it. Do you have a treaty with a government? Have a think about that. Because under the terms of a treaty, we sign it with who was it? I think it's the kōrero for Wikitoria, the Queen of England. So do you have a treaty today that's relevant with the Crown or with the government of today? Have a think. Because the point I'm trying to get to is being a part-time warrior or a full-time one. And we have to take that into account if we're working about these things. Because if you don't have a treaty, there are certain things you've got to do. If you do have a treaty, who is it with?
Māori know what it's like to be dispossessed. Kaike are just starting to learn what that future might look like. And so for us to be standing together is a really important step. And there have been battles where we've stood together in the past, but I don't think it's happened actually for a while. And for those of us who've been involved in this campaign for the last 5 years, it's really a building block for more struggles in the future. And I think that's one of the things that has really frightened the government, the corporates, those who have been wanting to defend the TPPA. And so I think it's inspiring that we have so many young people, so many old people, some of us now in our 60s who count ourselves in the middle, even if our math's a bit wrong. What I wanted to talk a little bit about today, and not go on too long, University Lecture is a program for 50 minutes, I'm not going to do that. But I wanted to explain a little bit about what is happening with the Waitangi Tribunal claim especially, and then some of the opportunities that there are going to be in the next couple of months to put the pressure on after what happened yesterday. If we take the big picture of the TPPA, there are 3 direct assaults on Te Tiriti Waitangi and Tino Rangatiratanga. And Wakaputanga. The first is that we've got governments who are prepared to go and sign binding treaties with foreign states and foreign corporations that can be enforced by them when they are not prepared to honour the same obligations that were made a century and a half ago in this country. Why do foreign states and foreign corporations get rights and powers ahead of tangata whenua?
And that is the first fundamental issue. Yeah? The second fundamental issue is that the whole of the mindset of what is in the TPPA is about commodifying the world. It is about making money out of everything. It is about treating everything as if it can be reduced to corporate interests, profitability, transactions for money. So when, for example, we've been dealing with the issues about Mātauranga Māori, about rongoa, about the whole of the Y262 kaupapa and so on, which is fundamentally about how do you see the world, none of that has any place in the korero around the TPPA from the viewpoint of the negotiators. It's what article don't you like in here? So the second fundamental thing is the clash, the conceptual clash of worldviews, and locking in a neoliberal commodified view as the one that will prevail forever. The third of the assaults in terms of mana motuhake te Rangatiratanga is the way that Māori have been treated in this process.
Kia ora koutou. Te hei Māori ora. Ko te kororia ki te atua. I just want to ask one question here. I understand here Wakaputanga was given a 21 gun salute out here. It was given royal assent by King William IV with a flag. It was signed by leading rangatira throughout the country, including one of the major chiefs of the far north. It then got gazetted around the world and it became international law. We have an international document here and these people are committing treason. So when are we going to stand up? I want somebody to answer these questions.
I think we're asking a lot of rhetorical questions here. Is the grass green? Is the sky blue? Are you comfortable with yourself? Why are you asking the government for your own identity? Why are you asking the government for answers? You know, another thing too is mai kaumātua and queer are due to an innate responsibility to karanga and mihi on the marae. They don't get money for it. Who has told you you can't plant your kora acre and tomatoes and cucumbers in your rental home or the home that you own? Some people need to get an idea about what Tino Rangatiratanga is about. It's about your self-determination. Now stop playing victim. Okay? 176 years and we're still in this forum crying about what's not been given to us. Why are we sitting around talking about what's not been handed to us? Take it. And I don't mean be a hone heke and go and grab the gun and start shooting off the hip. No, be clever. You know, because the fact of the matter, you are indigenous. And before the Wakaputanga, we were indigenous. You know, the fact of the matter is that in 1828, when that ship Hokianga was caught in Port Albert, because it wasn't recognised as a trading company. Now that flag that P&O now flies was actually the first original Maori flag made out of muka, which actually represented the colours of the ancient Hokio. Okay, so when we want to talk about flag referendums and what flag, hey, you don't need a flag to identify as being indigenous. Never mind relying on John Key to get yourself new ablution blocks for your whare. Hey, now there's no use actually talking about the stuff unless you're actually at home. Okay, because the fact of the matter is that Ngāpuhi is the largest tribe with the smallest landmass and the only one who has not ceded their mana. Let's get rid of this word sovereignty. Ina ka kōrero Pākehā, ka whakaro Pākehā, mana. There ain't really too many, I suppose, English parallels to that kupu. Now, you guys need to start gardening. You guys need to ensure. You know, one thing that the government, people are saying, oh, I don't know my reo. One of the things that I've come across with is that parents send their children to kohanga reo. And then they go from kohanga reo to kura kaupapa, and then they're 17 years old exiting whare kura. Those parents still ain't got te reo Māori. So don't you leave that responsibility on your children to learn the reo when you don't, because you've had 17 years from the birth of your child to learn your language. That's something, you know, that can come for free. Hoki atu koutou ki o koutou marae kia puri ai koutou i ngā hau o tāwhiri mātea. Return back to your own mountain, find your mountain, and be purified by the winds of tāwhiri mātea. Now, it's not actually about climbing a mountain and looking for some sort of divine inspiration. It's actually you get back to your marae, you help that wahine committee, and you help your trustees get yourself new ablution blocks and all of those sorts of things. It's about getting the dirt under the nails. Now, if you're not prepared to work and sit on your ass and cry about what the government isn't giving you. Now, I've heard too many acronyms and academic kōrero in here today about TPP. You know, TPP is an acronym for to preach poverty. That's what it basically comes down to. Poverty for you, because we ain't making anything at the local farmers market selling jam. That's what TPP is about. Get an idea about what your idea of Tino Rangatiratanga is. Now there's self-independence, there's self-determination, and there's sovereignty. Sovereignty is an innate thing. No one can actually take that Māoritanga from you. Now, independence is if you can actually live outside of the government without no dependency on John Key. Now, that's what it's really about. And your independence is more so about who you identify from your home. You know, all this pepper potting and urban drifts, i roto Tāmaki Makaurau, right? Most of Ngāpuhi are living there. So Ngāpuhi, get your ass out of Auckland and start coming northward bound. Because our marae, there's no one there. What we do is we call it DAK, D-A-K, Dala Kaumatua, Dala Quia. And what our villagers are doing here back in Ngāpuhi is recycling and reusing Kaumatua, because unfortunately we're not like the southern people, who have 12 Kaumatua on their tūmata, because they are in a 12-kilometre radius of their marae. No, think about it. All largest iwi, smallest landmass, and everybody's living in South Auckland. They are living in Rangatiratanga. So the encouragement is actually bringing it back. And, to all these iwi leaders, the iwi leaders are the ones who actually have iwi to lead. It's not about being in your air-conditioned cubicle or your office administrating iwi affairs. Ka pai? So, listen, TPP, ka pai. Congratulations for all of you who've done it. But what it's doing, it's creating a smokescreen dividing us from about Waitangi. Okay, TPP's been done, it's been signed, get over it. What we have to focus on is about, don't come to Waitangi for the weekend, fly your flag and piss off home. Hey, it's not about the 5th and the 6th of Waitangi, it's about what you're doing in your own home.
Ti hei mauri ora, ko tōku inoa tuatai ki te atua. Nāna nei nā mea katoa I hanga, nāna hoki ngā mea katoa ka oti. Ka tika, me tuku honore krorea ki tōna ingoa tapu, mo ake tonu atu. Āmine. Ko mātou te whakatipurana ranatai, e arahi ana te huarahi pono me te tika. Hei wātea mātou mai nā mamaitana, e whakakākahutia tēnei ao nui o te kāwanatana. I raro I te korowai o te atua mana ariki o tātou katoa huri no te ao. Mana anake, tō mātou whakatipurana e tohutia me pēhea te hoki mai te huarahi tūturu kia whakakotahi ai tātou. Ko e nei nā kite nā mea ake nei nā poropiti o tātou nā tangata whenua o Aotearoa. Ko e nei te tū whakamutuna ki nā hapu katoa o Aotearoa. Homai tō aroha, tō rangi Māori, tō inoi ki te whakanuia tō mātou pai Rangatiratanga. Me whakamana te kaupapa puno o te atua. Mo ana mata, mo nā mokopuna, mo nā whakatipurana ki te hara mai. Ka pū te ruha, ka hao te rangatahi. Homai kia mātou tō tautoko, te amorangi ki mua, te hāpai o ki muri. Tūturu whakamaua kia tīna, haumie, huie, tau te mauri e.
We got a great partnership with Lord Frederick Stewart. and he's the delegate for Queen Victoria. So what we're looking at now, we're looking at the partnership. So really what we got in place, we looked into the whole policy that help the country to come to place, but the laws was never binding to the Treaty of Waitangi. So that's where we are.
Would you say that the Treaty of Waitangi has been breached since the signing?
Yes, it was breached. Actually, we've done the full research. Because in Geneva, you can highlight him on that. We went right back to AD 30. It was breached from that point on. But it's only what we call is the petition of Ratna. I just got in the war list. Petition of Ratna. Ratna was able to bring that treaty to life.
Right.
But was never given in the power of what it should be used. So we lost a lot of that. Lost a lot of it. But you don't blame the movement. They didn't bother to learn about updating of the time frame. It was simple. So thank you very much for giving your time.
I would like to see the sacred founding document of the Declaration of Independence of New Zealand, 1835, honoured.
For anybody speak on our behalf and make deals outside.
I think they stood him down today. They stood him down.
Whakaaro taku, me whakarere nā kara ki runga ngā waka katoa. Me hari ki te wana, me whakarere nā kara ne.
Yes.
He tū mana muta hake, ia waka ne.
New Zealand, tēnā tō, this is New Zealand. Matua, for me, when you talk of New Zealand, you're talking of the crown and the right of New Zealand. Wakaputanga doesn't revolve in it. Right? Yeah, the crown and the right of New Zealand is John Key, Calvin Davis. That's not our politics. Wakaputanga will rise above all of this. This is a good year for us to rise. Pai, me koe roto ingoa, matua, me no hea koe. What's your name, Kathy?
Huri, Remo Weteri. Ngāti wai, Huri Remo Weteri. Ngāti wai ki pangaruru ki ngā hapu o ngā pui. Hai, not iwi, hapu.
Thank you so much, Matua.
Kia ora.
Can I follow with you just about what you are on Wera Pies one, on the independence on He Wakaputanga.
Oh, kia ora, Matua.
What's your whāro there, Ehoa? What's your name?
George, Remo Weteri.
Kia ora.
Ngāti wai ki whangaruru ki ngā hapu o ngā pui.
Kia ora.
I don't belong to an iwi, I belong to a hapu. Right, that's the whānau basis. That everybody speaks, not one or some for the all.
And what's the whāro on He Wakaputanga? What's the historical significance?
The significance for me is that there is a truth realised, and if you're in the crown and the right of New Zealand, you will realise this was taken away from us, and we went through as a people an assimilation program, and it failed. We got it right, took us this long, not going to stop now. This is the truth.
I understand it's New Zealand's sacred founding document, the Declaration of Independence 1835.
Aye.
Is that correct?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I do take it as a founding document, but a document that stood up nationally and internationally up here. That the national couldn't find it wrong, international courts could not find it wrong. Where better placed are we? We've been living a lie. We've been living assimilation. That's got to end. That must end for us to get it right. And I'm only grateful that I did find that, because it's true. Am I going to, like I said, I pull my children out. I've done all my change for the reason that it's the truth. if nothing else. And my family will survive in it. They will. Without it, we're gone. We only have sovereignty or slavery. That's all that's left. And I'm no slave. And this, through my chief, has been shown to me and given back to me. Humbled I am.
Kia ora. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tino pai. Tino pai ki te kōrero. Good luck with everything, and I hope your Wakaputanga comes back alive again.
It's already started. This is our year.
Yeah.
So it was to turn up and to actually raise our flags and hold it. And hold the flag up as high as you can, because this is what should be there. Nobody should be changing the flag. Everybody should be coming to the realization of the flag, because national or international court has already proven it. Doesn't need any other proving by people or otherwise. It's been done. Now, if it's been done, John Key, what you doing, huh? You got no money? That's why you're doing it. You're trying to pass the debt off to somebody else so you can leave. That's what I understand. Don't let him go. Hold him to point, because somebody's got to pay for the bill and he signed off on it. He should pay it. That's the right way. Kia ora. Kia ora.
Tino pai. Ka pai ki te kōrero.
This is the last to come through. Yes. on the New Testament. And this one here is standing at Ratna Pangariki.
Aye.
That's that one. Sorry, that's that one there. The Pangariki.
I'll just focus in on that. Okay.
And this here is the last quotation of his sons to take place as Alipa Omaka.
Aye.
It came for Alipa Omaka Hamura Piritua. That's the four he's chosen to do the laws of the in mankind.
The final judgment.
Yeah, final judgment.
The Lord's judgment.
Yeah. That's,
So,
in the physical.
yes.
And the covenant of Waitangi.
From what I understand, the indigenous version of Te Tiriti was the one that the chiefs actually signed.
That's the one.
And it follows up from here, Wakaputanga, that it doesn't cede.
No, Wakaputanga first.
Wakaputanga first,
Yeah,
and then it
1835
follows up,
followed
that's
by
what I'm saying.
1840.
And then it's followed later in 1840 with the Te Tiriti, which did not cede authority, did not cede Manamotuhake.
Well, they hadn't done it in 1835. What they did do is over here in the Murmur, which took place in 1840. And that was when the signing of the treaty, so that we can be based on equity. Because a lot of the people that was coming over were at the time when England shipped a lot of prisoners of Mother England over into the Tasmania area. And that sort of left them free for all. And then they came up in this area right through to the Chatham Islands. That was the way in which they conquered or integrated Maori people by doing those sort of kaupapa, which was tikanga to us. It was being bastardized. It was a bastardized way of doing things. And when we saw Pākehās coming over here, the first things we said, oh, here comes a kehua, because he was so white. And we befriended them. Some of them even were allowed to have children, like what we call now Ngāti Hine and Ngāti Pro. And through all that cross-pollination, we become neutralized. And that's why I'm saying, Pākehā, you're not my enemy, it's the crown. Right? So what Ngāpu is saying, based on equity, that we can do these sort of things and we can make it happen. And that the taumata kaumātua needs to anchor themselves to be seen that they are the authority and people to put in place those laws. So on the 28th of October, when they not only celebrate that law of He Wakaputanga, they are bringing all those korero during the year that they put ready for disbursement on the 6th of February at Waitangi. here are those laws. And then when we see them and they're right, then we can always say, haumie, hoie, tākie. Not all those in favour, please say aye.
Kia ora for that. From what I understand, the English version of the treaty was actually done after the Port Waikato signing and was fraudulent. They waited 100 days, they turned it into English to
Well,
give everything away.
I can't really comment on that because that's another way of skullduggery finding. A way to undo the mana of those people because they couldn't do it here. So they carried on and changed the number plate from their treaty to the treaty. So I understand what you're saying. Anyway,
we've got to move.
Orira, tēnā koutou. Tēnā koutou ko papaho he patene a ko paho tūna kia koutou. I tēnei rangi ngā mihi nui kia koutou. Whai a te maramatanga ki wanganui a tātou Maori Sovereignty.
When our tūpuna had their ship taken off them by that Wakaputanga in the West Indies in 1831, what he didn't recognise, what the ship didn't recognise, was the beautiful flag that our family were flying as they entered at the West Indies. They had a big ship full of rope. Muka. They were going to trade muka. And they took our whānau ship off us because they did not recognise the flag our tūpuna were holding in their hand was a carved handle, dyed muka flowing off it in 4 different colours, red, yellow, blue and plain. And what those were the underwing colours of the now extinct hawkioi. So to them they were giving the hawkioi another life. They were out there doing the business, happy to fly their manu again. And let their manu have a flight. And so, when these people didn't recognise, when these people didn't recognise the mana of our tūpuna haki, trading flag, whatever you want to call it, they came home, had that hui, and as I said last night, what happened? So when this haki arrived, what our tūpuna gave in exchange also was a carved handle with our haki on it. And we got that in our archives at home. So we know that happened. And if you have a look today, when the ship comes in, the P&O ship, shipping line, what have they got on their chimney? The 4 colours of the underwing hawkioi. Because when they bought the trading rights of their flag off the British, it went onto their ship, the P&O. Who berths here free of charge? P&O. So I'm just sharing a different energy in terms of our flag, okay? Take us away from this, my flag. and take us on to another energy field that our tūpuna were clever. They were clever traders. And it really upset those people that came here and called themselves our colonisers. But when they got here, they discovered Aotearoa. What they discovered, of course, was it was occupied. So yeah, they discovered it was occupied. But for us to forget that we had our own trading flag is irresponsible. Come on, we all descend from tūpuna. There were 300 ships. You think you don't come from one of those tūpuna who had a ship? Of course you do. Wake it up, it's in your DNA. Wake the knowledge up, it's waiting for us. Ka hakararata. Ngā waka nei ka taia. te pupuri i ngā kōrero e pāna ki te ho mai o te koreke nei a King William IV. Ka tiaki ia i ngā waka e whitu nei, me te hunga horekau he toto Māori. Nā te mea kei roto i ngā tōpitu katoa e nei whetu. Ka hakaronga tūpuna, ka taia te mea atu. Ngā hau e whao tēnei whenua e tai ana te haere i raro i te maru o ngā kōrero i homai e King William IV. Te take o te āhuatanga mangu nei, ki mai ngā tūpuna, tika hoki tērā. I roto mātau i taua wāhi i mua, noho ana i roti te pauri, te kuare, te kore mōhio. Me pēhā te whakahaere i te ao mo te whakawhiti whenua i runga i te mahi o te trade. Ka tai ki te wāhi whero, ka whakai rātou, ka whakai ki tēnā. Koene ngā toto rangatira katoa o tō tātou whenua, whakai ana māta ki tēnā. Nā te mea he kahurangi e nohana ngā whetu nei i roti te āhuatanga o te kahurangi, rā tērā. Ka taia te mea atu. Kei ia tēnei whenua e tiaki ngiana e te kingi nei, kei roto i te moana nui a kiwa. I runga i tērā, ka tai au te tuku i tēnei kura tahito, engari māmā noeho, mo te whakamārama pai o tō tātau. Oranga kei roto i tēnei momo haki. Ko tuguna mai e te kingi o Ingarani, hei tiaki mai a tātau. E kore tēnā e ngaro. Nō reira.
No